The reason I live in Vancouver.
Trails are awesome. There's so many trails you can bike.
My family loves Vancouver.
It's a great place to raise a family. There's so much.
My family loves
an awesome
Vancouver.
city because my family
I
loves
love Vancouver because
It's home for me.
Roasting coffee for me is that happy time of the day. It's almost meditative. The churning of the coffee as it's in the roaster, the aromas that are coming through, especially when you open that door and that freshly roasted coffee pours out into the cooling tray. That's just awesome. The whole room, the whole neighborhood for a few minutes every time that we get a roast finish smells like freshly roasted coffee, and I just love that scenario. My name's Kenny Fletcher, and I'm the co-owner of Paper Tiger Coffee Roasters here in Vancouver with my wife, Sue.
At the beginning, it was for fun. Started buying green beans online and then just roasting at home. I think that for him, it was highlighting what the coffee farmers do in Oregon, designing and creating all of those profiles, and then be able to share that with the community through a cup of coffee. We always say that it's like the beans speak to you. It's just highlighting all of the work behind it. My name is Sadie, and I am co-owner of Kafiex Roasters in Vancouver, Washington.
One of the coolest things about the industry that I'm in, you get to have people walk through your door that are like, okay, I'm here to taste something really great. And whether your palate is more prone to like lower acidity coffees or like more chocolatey, I've got that. Or if you want something that's gonna like really high acidity and just like really complex, I've got that too. And I get to share that with people, and that is probably one of the like greatest things about owning my own roasting company is just sharing that passion that I have and my skill set with others, and watching them take a sip and smile. They don't even have to say like, "That's a great cup of coffee, Mitch." It's just a smile. That's all I know that they're enjoying it. My name is Mitch Montgomery. I'm the owner of Relevant Coffee in Vancouver, Washington.
So I personally didn't even start drinking coffee until I joined the Army. And then it was kind of a need thereafter. My first earliest experiences with coffee were all bad, and I didn't know any better because that's what I understood. My grandparents, looking back to my childhood, they were Depression era, so everything was saved. They kept their coffee in the freezer, and she would open it every morning and scoop it out and make a pot of coffee. But then when I had my first really good cup, it's like, wow, that's totally different. That was actually good. I don't need to add a bunch of stuff to this to make it taste better. It was such a great experience, and I was kind of shocked and almost in awe at the flavors that I just walked around stupefied for the next like 15 minutes as I was sipping on this coffee going, oh my gosh, where did this come from? This is totally different. And it kind of shook my reality as to what coffee really was at that point.
I grew up in Córdoba, Veracruz, which is a town known for coffee. We celebrate coffee. We have a museum dedicated for coffee. Even the baseball team is called after coffee. So coffee's been with me through my entire life. I've been here in the Pacific Northwest for about 9 years almost. During that time, I met my now husband and also co-business partner. Matthew and I started traveling, just randomly started choosing countries that they are coffee growing countries, and we started visiting farms. He eventually got into start roasting just for home, just for fun. And we always say that passion turned into business for us.
I grew up in Issaquah, Washington. My first job was at a little cafe, but it wasn't until I was working for a restaurateur in Phoenix where I had an aha moment with coffee that I really wanted to learn more about it, and that led me to my roasting career. What got me interested in roasting coffee in the first place was just I really enjoy serving people, but I really want to know where the coffee itself came from. Who was growing it? Like, it's this tropical plant that we don't really get an opportunity to experience in the US, being that most of the coffee is grown elsewhere in the world. And it was really interesting that you could take the seed of a coffee cherry, roast it, and brew it, and have an exceptional flavor experience.
The Washington State School for the Blind initially approached me asking if I could help them look at their coffee roaster. They have one on site there at the school. And then they said, well, what do you think about teaching some students yourself? And honestly, I was like, are you serious? I got a bunch of mental blocks in my head over that notion, but I said, okay, let's try it. Those were my mental hurdles, because when the first student came in, we've never had one of them use the Braille labels past the first 5 minutes of introduction to the machine. So all the different audio cues and aroma cues that come off the coffee as it's roasting, there's different sounds that are happening when the roast is happening. There's the first crack, there's the second crack, there's an actual tone change when the flame shuts off on that drum and the coffee makes a different sound. It's amazing to see that transformation. We're like, hi, and they're telling everybody that walks in the door, I'm gonna make you some coffee, what do you want? You know, and they just get all excited and they're very proud of themselves and they're like, I can do this. That, more so than anything I teach them about coffee or about work ethic, I think giving them that opportunity to find that self-worth is the most powerful thing that I can not teach but give those students.
Me being from Mexico and Matthew from here, we wanted to do like a combination. I wanted to highlight a lot of my culture. That's why in our menu you can see some of the like Mexican pastries or the Mexican flavors. The events that we're planning are for sure to highlight a lot of like the Hispanic heritage, so we can teach others how other countries celebrate different cultural holidays. So many of those countries are coffee producers, so we feel like we need to highlight a little bit more of what they do and what they celebrate too. So we want to share that with our community.
I was roasting for another coffee company in Vancouver, and I saw the potential that a local Vancouver coffee company could have. Vancouverites have a lot of pride about the things that are produced here in Vancouver. So knowing that we are producing quality products, part of the same thing you can get in Portland or LA or New York, here in Vancouver, was really kind of an eye-opening thing for me to see.
There's no single thing that's like, haha, Vancouver is X. I mean, the diversity of weather that we have here is great, but there's also the diversity of people. You know, Portland's known for being weird, but Vancouver, I think, for me, just seems more solid. You know, I've got people that come in here and they'll taste the coffee and go, this is crap. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this isn't for your taste. What are you looking for? And if I can direct them to one of my other local roasters that I know has that flavor profile, I'll send them to Brewed, I'll send them to River Maiden, Relevant, Kafiex, whoever I know has the flavor profile that they're looking for. Again, because I'm part of the community. Yes, we're competitors, but we're also colleagues. We're all working in the same industry. A lot of them do the same. I've seen it happen with them not even knowing that I was waiting in line to get a cup of coffee and have them go, oh, you might want to try that particular blend over at Paper Tiger. I think that might be what you're looking for.
Buy your coffee from local roasters. Mostly all of us, coffee is a daily ritual, so instead of buying coffee from a giant corporation, just buy from local roasters. There's a handful of us here in Vancouver. I think that we all should support more what is local and in the community. I feel that way in general with local businesses. Mostly all the money that we put towards local business tends to stay in the community. Opposite of spending money in larger corporations, that not all of that money stays. You know, some of that money needs to go to corporate instead of staying locally and being spent in the community.
What we do is global in scope, but really like local in focus. We're here for our community. We're here to provide awesome coffee to this area. They'll realize that there's a difference between a drive-through coffee and something that's roasted locally and prepared with care. You know, and it's not just our door. Like, go to the multitude of roasters that are in Vancouver. And I think that when you do support small businesses, you are investing in your own community.